Hey, what's up everybody? Chris here, and I want to talk about The Matrix 4. Hey, if you're enjoying the video, if you like the channel and like the content, please be sure to click that thumbs up button down below and click the subscribe button so you can see whenever new content is posted. So, The Matrix is in my top 10 movies of all time. I don't know where in that list officially I would put it, but it's up there. I love the original movie. The sequels, Reloaded and Revolutions, I don't love necessarily. I'm actually of the opinion that Revolutions is a little bit better than Reloaded, but they are both clearly, a couple of notches, if not more, below the original movie, which was really kind of a revolutionary piece of science fiction. So anyway, regarding The Matrix 4, the question that I have about this movie is, kind of twofold. First of all, how is this even a thing with both Neo and Trinity, so Keanu Reeves and Carrie-Anne Moss returning, given that they very clearly died at the end of the third Matrix, Revolutions? How is it even possible that there is a plot to this? What is the plot? And that's the second big question. What is this about? So I have a theory about what it's about, and I'm going to sort of lay that out for you here, and we'll just sort of spitball a little bit. I think there's a couple of different ways that you can sort of think about this movie. So again, in Revolutions, both Neo and Trinity die very clearly and obviously at the end of that. So it felt like the final Matrix movie. It felt like we weren't going to get anything beyond that. So how is The Matrix 4 even a thing, right? So of course, there are some kind of big ideas that stand out about how this could even be happening. So the first and most obvious idea is that maybe both Neo and Trinity have somehow had their consciousnesses, plural, uploaded into the Matrix, and so it's continued beyond that truce that was sort of fostered there at the end of the third movie, where mankind and the machines are sort of living alongside each other as long as the Matrix continues to be a thing. That's one option. The other big option that really stands out for me, and I think this gets back to the question of why even make this movie. Of course, you make a movie in a lot of cases, or every case just about really, unless it's just love for the art. Especially if it's coming from a big studio, because it's going to make money, and certainly The Matrix as a name has that sort of immediate recognition that's going to draw in audiences, especially if they're able to craft something that's really going to wow people, especially a generation that didn't grow up with The Matrix or have The Matrix as a thing. I mean, there are a lot of people now that were born after the original Matrix came out, so they maybe don't know a whole lot about it. The other big idea for me is that Lana Wachowski, I think he was the writer of this and the director, probably has an idea that has a lot of timeliness and relevance. And so any good piece of science fiction, in my opinion, should have some sort of immediate application to the time period within its release, right? So it's got something to say about our current state of society, the current state of the world in general. And so my prediction, even though I could be really far off base, is that within the first three Matrix movies, they being Morpheus, Neo, Trinity, all of the people who were supposedly in the real world, they never actually got out of the Matrix. So I'm leaning toward this because if you recall in the second movie, there's sort of this weird situation where Neo is able to control machines and have a connection with machines when he's outside of the Matrix. And here Rocket has his opinion about this too. But unless there's some kind of Wi-Fi connection implanted into his brain, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. My thinking then is that even though Neo and company thought they had made it out of the Matrix, they never actually did, and so it was kind of like a Matrix within a Matrix. And so again, there's going to be some kind of, I think, socio-political commentary sort of woven into this to suggest that there's something bigger pulling the strings within this larger computer program, which kind of begs the question then, who is the entity in charge of it, right? You would assume it's the machines given what transpires in the original Matrix movies, but maybe there's something bigger going on, and maybe that's why Lana Wachowski really had sort of the impetus to come back to this story, to come back to this plot, and to revisit it, besides, of course, generating money. But you would think at this point they're not going to revisit this unless they just have a really compelling plot that they want to try and follow through with. And you would think that Keanu Reeves, who has no shortage of work with Bill and Ted coming down the pike, with the John Wick movies and so on and so forth, there's really no compelling reason for him to do this unless he feels really good about it. And in fact, if you look at some of the commentary that he's thrown out there kind of cryptically about the movie, he said that he thinks it's a really ambitious plot and a really ambitious script. So to me, that says there's something big here that he feels good about, that everybody feels good about, that's going to sort of, be obviously not on par with sort of the revelations and sort of the awe-inspiring stuff that we had with the first movie, but I think it's going to have to do more than just kind of continue that story and it be the same sort of things where it's man versus machine in order for it to be something that really kind of galvanizes the fan base to say, wow, this was a great movie. I can see why they made this. And I think that maybe that's what they have and why they feel good about it. If you look at some of the set photos, and of course, spoilers, right? If you have been anywhere on Twitter or elsewhere to see this, you can see that Neo is with Trinity, but he looks very different. He looks kind of haggard. Maybe it's a more kind of up-to-date, modern style or whatever you want to call it for his character, but it doesn't look like the Neo of old, even when he was a hacker in the first movie before he was liberated from the Matrix. So clearly there's something weird going on here. So, you know, part of me has to wonder if after the events of the third movie, his consciousness or his awareness was sort of reawoken in that new version of the Matrix, which was in another larger Matrix. Potentially we've got kind of an Inception-esque sort of thing happening, and so he appears a little bit different because of that. I suppose too he could be a program, she could be a program, but if they go that route, you know, I think that they've both aged a little bit, so it's going to be a little bit harder to explain that as a thing, at least from some of the set photos I've seen. But I don't know, it's going to be interesting. So anyway, that's kind of my take on it. I think there's a big, broad idea here. I think we've maybe got a Matrix within a Matrix, and what we thought we understood about the original trilogy maybe isn't the whole story. Maybe there's more to it. So let me know what you think. If you've seen those photos, if you like the Matrix, if you spent some time thinking about this, share your thoughts. We'll have a discussion in the comments section. And as always, thanks for watching.